Yes, guys, welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. No retreat, no surrender. These was the words by Raila Odinga on 21st July 2008. This was in the wake of the establishment of Mau Complex Restoration Task Force. This became a Waterloo in Raila's politics, as it turned out to be the period when he lost contact with his serious and most emphatic voting bloc, which was the Kalenjin Nation. In today's analysis, we are going to look at the ways in which Rigathi Gachagua has been set up for failure, just like Mwai Kibaki set up Raila Odinga, who was then a prime minister, for failure in coming elections. Before we begin, for those who are watching, thank you for joining us, and please take a minute or two to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And then, for those who have subscribed, we thank you for your support, because this support is dear to us. In recent weeks, Rigathi Gachagua has turned out to be one of the most followed and sought after political leader in this country. And this has been because of his nature of talk and his style of communication to the public. Many might comment and think that his strategies are crude and undiplomatic, but he has said that that is his way of speaking the truth. In politics, they say that there is no permanent friend and there is no permanent enemy. And a day in politics is like 1,000 years. And therefore, we want to look at Rigathi Gachagua, his political ambition, and the probability of him being a serious contender in upcoming elections in this country. But after looking at him and studying his steps keenly, for me it has looked like a mirror of the experience that Raila Odinga went through during his tenure as the Prime Minister of this country. When Raila got to power, power got into his head. And for many, he acted irrationally in most decisions that he was making. These irrational actions and decisions have been well documented in Miguna Miguna's Peeling Back the Mask. Looking at how Raila Odinga handled his close friends and allies and people who voted for him, it seemed that his ultimate goal was getting that position. Because at the end of the day, he almost forgot about his voting bloc and decided to act with extreme executive power, where there were a lot of cases where they were competing, power competition. You remember the Nusumkeka moment, and then there were also moments of pulling out each other on issues related to whether there was consultation or not. So these were moments that defined Raila Odinga's political future to date. Raila Odinga swore that over his dead body, and he was ready to sacrifice his political future for the sake of saving Mau Forest. To me, this was not a bad dare, but being a politician, it is always good to be rational when making some decisions. And every decision that is made should always be backed and every decision that is made should always be supported by facts and a political insight to assess whether that decision will make your future or it will destroy it. Rigathi Gachagua in this government has been turned to a Raila Odinga, and he has gotten into that trap easily. You remember there are two things currently that are happening, in fact three, that are happening in Mount Kenya. First, there is the war on alcohol, the war on drug abuse and alcohol menace in central Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua has been at the forefront of this fight. And with his power as the deputy president, he has dared many. And in fact, in Murang'a, we remember, they cut almost 65% of licenses that they had given to bar owners. That led to automatically running business out. It also led to people losing their jobs. So it has had a catastrophic impact in that region. My question is, to those whose businesses have been closed because of this directive, will they be in support of Gachagua in any election that will come in the future? I have looked at most online comments from people in that region, and most of them tend to think that Rigathi Gachagua is not a political leader who should be leading that region. These are informed by his erratic tone of talk and speeches that he continues to give all over. This is also populated by his nature of dealing with the people in that area. So just as Raila Odinga made a mistake, he did not think of the overall outcome that his people were going to experience. In fact, people from Mau became IDPs. And when the Kalenjin nation saw their people suffering and sleeping across the roadsides, they said that we shall not vote for Raila Odinga again in our lives. While there are those who have been liberal in terms of their thinking and their vote decision, there are those who have been pushed by desire to cling to their tribal aspirations, and they stopped voting for Raila Odinga. For me, this is the same fate that could likely befall Rigathi Gachagua, because William Ruto has left him to be the face of destruction in central Kenya. And remember, when a good enemy wants to deal with you, he uses an ally within your camp. And that ally will deal with you, and you will not realize that you are being dealt with by that government. And this is what is happening in the case of Rigathi Gachagua. So he must tread carefully, or else he will fall or face the fate that Raila Odinga experienced after serving as the Prime Minister. Another issue in that region is the question about Mungiki. Mungiki is such a complex issue in that region, and Rigathi Gachagua must also tread carefully when dealing with his people. You all remember the period when some youths invaded the Northland farms associated with the Kenyatta family. Now, these youths, some thought they were Mungiki. And if they could be used by Rigathi and his team, one begs to ask, how will Rigathi Gachagua distinguish between the Mungiki that they sent to Northland farms and the Mungiki that they purport Maina Njenga is leading? Rigathi Gachagua must tread carefully, not to end up killing his own people and sending his people's wrath towards him. Central Kenya people are people who are unforgiving. And when you rattle them, automatically at the end of the day, you must be ready to face the consequences. In this analysis, I am putting it to Rigathi Gachagua that he must tread carefully to ensure that even as he is going against the outlawed Mungiki, he must understand that Mungiki is the face of politics that has been in that region. The only person who managed to deal with Mungiki perfectly was Mwai Kibaki. And through his ruthless minister, John Mishuki, he dealt and killed many of Mungiki guys. But this happened in the former constitution. In our 2010 constitution, right to life is sacred. And in any case, there will be a spree of killings, unexplained killings in that region. Automatically, the person who will suffer and face that blame will be Rigathi Gachagua, who holds a serious and a senior position for that community in this Kenya Kwanza government.
The third and final issue, which is a threat to Gachagua's political future, is the constant attacks on Kenyatta's family. Since the 2022 political campaigns began, Gachagua has sustained continuous attack to the former president's family and his regime. In fact, he has targeted even the first president of this country by talking about how they acquired land and power without considering the real Mau Mau who engaged in the colonial fights against the whites. But I want to say that this will work to the detriment of Gachagua. In the event that the Kenya Kwanza regime fails to deliver. You remember that they have castigated Uhuru Kenyatta on everything that he tried to do as a president, and that they have painted him as an incompetent and a clueless president. But looking at the current events, more so when it comes to our economic situation, the signals are early and they are being seen across the country that the regime that we have now has started failing in delivering some of its key promises it gave to Kenyans. And therefore, if Rigathi Gachagua does not tone down, he will end up being the sole carrier of the ills that this country or this regime has pushed and left to Kenyans. For this reason, I must say that if Rigathi Gachagua has any political ambition for future political position, then he must tone down on his attacks towards the former president's family. And he must also tone down on his speech and mode of talk to Kenyans so that he looks presidential, he looks respectable, and he becomes a leader who can go beyond the central Kenya region. That's my perspective, and I believe many have different views on this. We can continue talking and discussing down in the comment section. For those who have watched, thank you for your support. If you have not subscribed, take a time and hit that subscription button and the notification button. And also, remember to give this video a thumbs up. God bless you. Let's meet in our next video. Thank you.